So what goes well with gimbals usually? Parkour, of course, especially here in London. Today we have the INKEE FALCON Plus. I made already a full manual on how to use this gimbal, and you can watch the video right here in the card or in the description tab, where you will find also my previous review for the previous version of the Falcon Plus, which was the Falcon, still by INKEE. Go and check it out. Of course, you know what I'm gonna ask next. Hit the subscribe button, because a lot of new content is coming out weekly on this channel. Well, thanks for tuning in on my channel again. If it's the first time here, my name is Mamo. I'm a content creator based in London. As I mentioned, today we're gonna review and test the INKEE FALCON Plus. Some of you were disappointed with the previous version because it couldn't really hold a GoPro with the media mode. But the Falcon Plus, I can say it's built for the GoPro with the media mode, as you can see here, and I'm gonna explain during the video why. But before we dive in the review, we're gonna get some B-roll, some footage, all filmed with the INKEE FALCON Plus and the GoPro 10 with the media mode on top, all filmed at 24 frames per second. So no slow motion cheating. Let's roll. Super Lupa Double X. So wait. Yeah. Bit of running with no stop in the GoPro.
Drink still
Sweet. Go. So what do you think about the footage? Leave a comment down here, let me know. Some of that B-roll was taken with the GoPro stabilization on and some off. How did it perform? And stay with me, because towards the end of the video we're actually going to compare some videos taken with the GoPro stab on and same video without stabilization, just for you to understand how the gimbal actually performs. So what is this thing? First of all, for the newbies here, it's a 3-axis gimbal stabilizer for action cameras. As you can see, it can support different action cameras, but it's made in particular for GoPros. You can place on the gimbal some action cameras like the Insta361R, for example, or the Osmo Action, but you can't control them via the gimbal or the app. In terms of distance from where you can control wirelessly your gimbal through the app is 10 meters. Once again, you want to check all the manual where I explain step by step all the different processes to make the gimbal work, basically how to connect it to your app and so on. Let's talk about the connectivity. You can connect your gimbal to the app via Bluetooth, so make sure you have the location and the Bluetooth on your smartphone, but also you can connect the GoPro to the gimbal, so you can control the GoPro through your gimbal, which means you can record through the gimbal as well, simply by pressing one of these 3 buttons on the side of the Falcon. You can switch between the modes, time-lapse, camera mode and video mode, and yeah, simply snap a photo or start recording. A feature you might want to be aware of is also when you turn your gimbal on and it's paired with your GoPro, the GoPro will turn on as well. When you turn the gimbal off, the GoPro will turn off. That's one of the questions I've been asked for the previous version. Yes, it happens on the Falcon Plus. Let's talk about what's in the box, what comes with the gimbal. And first of all, of course, we have the stabilizer itself, the Falcon Plus. Then we have a carrying bag in a gray color, one tripod right there. We have a small replacement screw to balance your gimbal. Then we have 2 different screws actually to mount the camera on the plate. One has a black handle, which is used for the GoPro only, like naked GoPro on the gimbal, and one is a smaller in silver just to mount the GoPro with the mod on your gimbal. So you have two different options there. We have two Allen keys, one smaller for the small screw, of course, and a bigger one to use with the silver screw to mount the camera on top of the gimbal. And of course, we have a manual guide and a USB to USB-C cable to charge your device. Okay, what's the build of the Falcon Plus? It's made of plastic, mainly the tripod and the body. And then we have the arms, the actual gimbal and the motors in aluminum alloy. The arms are quite sturdy and strong. Well, the body is plasticky, as you can imagine. But overall, the build is nice. It's light. It doesn't feel cheap, if you know, that's what I mean. So when I said that this gimbal is built for the GoPro with the media mod on, for a couple of reasons. First of all, the plate. The plate matches exactly the bottom of the GoPro with the mod. So without the mod, you will have a bit of space between the plate and the camera itself. And when you're doing some strong movements or jumps, for example, the camera would tilt forward or backward. When you place the mod on, actually, there's not any space here in between. So there's no way for the camera to tilt forward or backward. That's one of the reasons. The other reason is, as I mentioned, you've got two different screws. The one I'm using with the mod is the silver screw, which is a bit smaller, and that's because the bigger screw wouldn't fit here when the mod is on. Talking about the battery and the battery life, there's a rechargeable built-in battery which lasts 9 hours with a full charge. A good feature of this gimbal is that you can actually charge your GoPro through the gimbal via the USB-C cable. This cable doesn't come with the gimbal, unfortunately. You need a USB-C to USB-C cable. And once again, go and check the review to see how that works. Let's talk about the dimensions and weight. When the gimbal is fully folded, it measures 235 millimeters by 125 by 37. The product weight is 292.5 grams. The payload, which is the amount of weight the gimbal can hold, is 200 grams. What can we do with the gimbal in terms of modes? We have the usual pan follow, which is the one I'm using now. We also have the pan and tilt follow, but also we have the option to film in portrait in vertical mode on this gimbal. You simply want to place your gimbal horizontally and press the M button, the modes button on the gimbal twice. And there you go, you just switched to the portrait mode. From here, if you press the M button twice again, you can go to vortex mode or inception. And then by using the joystick, you can rotate your camera and create these inception mode videos. Last but not the least, the price. The gimbal, the Falcon Plus, comes at the price of 112 British pound on Amazon. All the links in the description tab. If you purchase through my link, you're gonna help my channel. You will not be charged any extra, but I will get a tiny percentage of your purchase. We're gonna take some more footage, a few tests with the stabilization of the GoPro on, off, and just compare and see how it performs. Double camera. Stab on either GoPros, and Alex is showing us the route. Let's go.
Your drink still
Sweet! Great. Keep going, don't worry.
Go with the flow, Dave.
Yay! Go! There you go, guys. GoPro handheld, not stub. On my left hand side, on the right hand side, GoPro on the Falcon Plus, not stub. Just walking through, and I can see the Falcon Plus is much more stable than the handheld camera, of course. We are back in studio because I wanted to actually check the footage we recorded before I give you my opinion on the stabilization and overall about the gimbal. So I was editing the video, and I want to cover some of the downsides I found in the gimbal. First of all, what I noticed first of all was that the Falcon Plus sometimes freaks out. Maybe because I was too fast with my movements, I don't know, or the angles of the gimbal were too extreme, but literally sometimes it didn't know what to do and it was spinning the other way in 180 degrees. Now, even just tilting down like this during the filming, yeah, it didn't work properly. It was just turning around. So now it's okay. See, it just happened. So even now I'm rotating the gimbal and the camera is staying forward. So it doesn't react. See, it's just a bit random sometimes. So I'm not sure why that is. And then it goes back to place if you double press the trigger, of course. But just by doing this movement, yesterday wasn't very happy sometimes. Yeah, that's one of the things I noticed anyway. Then the second thing was the locking system, which is very helpful to balance your gimbal on other gimbals. Unfortunately, we still don't have it on the Falcon Plus, so I would advise INKEE maybe to think about that. Even when you travel and carry your gimbal, you want to have it safely stored instead of the arms moving around, so that could be a good feature to add. Talking about the good things, well, portability. It's a very light and tiny gimbal. It can fit in your pocket, so definitely that's a plus if you're traveling especially. It's very simple, very user-friendly for the beginners out there, and I would recommend it in particular for vloggers. That's, I think, the main target of this gimbal. Of course, vloggers, they're going to use a GoPro Hero 9, 8 or 10 with the media mod on top, because you don't have a chance to add an external microphone or lights to the gimbal itself. So it's good to have a media mod with all the tools and gear you need right on top of the camera. Most important thing, stabilization. I think the Falcon Plus really helps you with stabilizing your footage when you don't use stabilization in the GoPro. As you've seen from the comparison clips I showed you before, there's really a big difference between when you're using the GoPro stabilization on and off. Said that, don't think that your footage will be perfect. You still have some jittery, you will see some jumps up and down, also left to right. It happens in all the gimbals, especially in not the strongest ones. I don't think the Falcon Plus is the strongest gimbal for GoPros, for example. But it still helps a lot. You can use the gimbal with the GoPro stabilization on, but something happens there, and it's definitely a GoPro issue. I think it's a digital effect. It's trying to stabilize the footage digitally, and it creates a lot of blurriness. As you can see in this clip, I was following my friends. I was actually running, and the GoPro just freaks out and it creates this blurriness. So the footage is much better when you're using the Falcon Plus without stabilization. I don't recommend to have the GoPro stabilization on the gimbal when you do activities as parkour, for example, or sports that involves, you know, quick actions and that kind of stuff, a lot of running. It doesn't work well because of the blurriness. Definitely recommend to turn the GoPro stabilization on if you're just vlogging and walking around, so you don't have all this bumping up and down, and still you will not see any blurriness in your image. That's completely up to you. I had someone complaining to me actually and blamed me because I showed some clips taken with a GoPro and a gimbal, and he purchased the gimbal and it didn't perform as he was expecting because he didn't turn the GoPro stabilization on. So I want to avoid that. Please do your tests. If you want to rent the gear for a day, test it out, see it for yourself. All right, so don't blame other people. It's a choice you make. I'm just trying to test the gear for you and show you what happened to me in my experience. So let me know what you think so far about this gimbal in the comment tab. Said that, I hope the video helped you out. If it did, or if you just enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button, because I will see you in the next one coming very soon on this channel. Don't forget to check my With You clothing brand, get some merch, be part of the community. I'll see you soon. mamoair.com. Ciao.